Hey guys, welcome back to Simplify Mechanic. My name's Thomas. And today's video is how to avoid getting ripped off by the customer if you're a mobile mechanic or a small business owner in general. So stay tuned. Alright guys, let's get started. If you ever watch this channel, then you know that I've been ripped off in the past, I've been ripped off in the present, so let's avoid getting ripped off in the future. So a lot of these things that I'm about to tell you is more geared toward being a mobile mechanic business owner. But if you provide a service to a customer and they return, give you money, maybe you can take some of these tips and implement them into your business. First thing is paperwork, invoices, contracts, things like that. I'm a mobile mechanic, so what happens is somebody calls me, I answer the phone. They'll tell me what's going on with their vehicle or what they think's wrong with their vehicle, and I'll tell them how much it is. If you don't know what's wrong with your vehicle, I'll set you up for a diagnosis. So I tell you over the phone how much it is. I'm like, it's $60 for a diagnosis. And I'll say, I need you to go ahead and text me year, make, and model of the vehicle and the address. I tell them I'm about to send an invoice for the $60 diagnosis. So right off the rip, we've already verbally stated the price. I've already texted them and they've texted me back. Very easy. Okay, yeah, common sense. I'm about to do this service. Yeah, I got to have a contract, how much they're going to pay. Well, what happens sometimes is when you're first starting out, you're scared to offend the customer at all because you need every single job that you can get starting out. So you're scared. You don't want to offend them somehow. You think you're going to offend the customer by asking them to sign this piece of paper. All you're doing is protecting yourself and you're protecting the client as well, or the customer as well. Because now once they sign, they have proof that you actually worked on their vehicle as well. So if something happens, they can come after you. You see what I mean? You both are protected. And make sure you can explain that to them. Like, hey, this is for me and you. So you've done the initial invoice. You arrive on the job. You diagnosed it, found out what it is, and the repair is going to be $200, and they want you to go ahead and do it. Before you start, that invoice you sent, you need to make an addendum to it or give them another invoice stating the new charges. Don't just do the job and act like that first invoice that says $60 for diagnosis covers both of them. Well, it doesn't. That's separate. Now you're safe. You're doing your job. You're fixing the water pump, starter, whatever. Customers will say, hey, while we're here, can you go ahead and check my brakes out for me? Seeing how I got you here? Yeah, I can look at your brakes. If you want me to replace them, that's going to be about $50. And if they agree to it, go ahead, you make another addendum to your invoice. You don't wait till the end. Like I said, you got to have a lot of discipline to do this, but it's something that you have to do. And everything I'm telling you is because I've learned firsthand what'll happen. It'll be the nicest people or the people with the most money, the nicest cars will be the ones that try to get over on you. So basically, the number one thing that'll protect you is making sure you have contracts, your invoices, and if there's any add-on work or extra work that they want you to do, make sure you stop and go ahead and get another invoice or have them sign the additional contract stating that this is what they want done and how much the secondary work is. All right, so tip number 2, get some money. What you're going to do is ask for some money up front. Especially starting out, you will not want to ask for any money up front, but you need to. You got to protect yourself. The difference between this and a dealership or us in a brick and mortar shop is if they take their vehicle in there and drop it off and they don't pay anything up front, and customers will say that, well, at the dealership, I don't have to pay anything up front. Well, yes, that's correct, ma'am or sir, you don't. But if you don't pay them at the end, you're not getting your vehicle back. We do not have that options as mobile mechanics. If they don't pay their bill, cannot keep their keys from them. Trust me, I've tried this. What they'll do is call the cops. The cops are going to make you hand them keys back over and tell you you need to file in a civil court if they owe you money. So we require, and it's up to you, but I require 50% of the total cost up front. And it's going to be very hard for you to ask for that, especially starting out. Because the customers, if this is the first time they're dealing with a mobile mechanic, they've probably never had to pay any money up front. But you just need to communicate with them. Hey, it's nothing personal. I believe you'll pay me, but it's just strictly business. I got to have half the money up front now, the other half when the vehicle's done. And most people will do that. They'll say, okay, I understand, and give you the money. Some of them won't. They'll say, no, I don't trust you. I've been ripped off before. If he doesn't want to give it to you up front, do not do the job. There's plenty of other jobs out there. Even if you're starting out, do not take that job. Trust me, you will get another job. Okay, tip number 3, never do a job that you haven't diagnosed yourself. What'll happen is you'll get a call and they'll say, hey, my car's not starting, but I had the guy at AutoZone look at it and he told me it was an alternator. Can you give me a price for an alternator? You tell him, all right, $150 for an alternator. You go out there, you arrive on scene, you do the job, you do it perfect, you do it correct. Put the new alternator in, they go to start the car, guess what? It doesn't start. Well, it was $150. That's how much you charge them. You got $75 up front because you got half. Well, what do you think's gonna happen with that second $75 they owe you? Do you think that customer wants to pay you that other $75? I think not. He's gonna say, well, my car's not fixed. So it's absolutely horrible situation to be in, because that customer, and you have to explain this to him, you still owe me the second part of my money because I didn't diagnose this. I'm just coming out and putting in the part that you're telling me. If somebody calls me now and says, hey, how much is it for a water pump? I'll give them the price. All right, $200. I am not comfortable just replacing this without diagnosing it. And I explained to him, because if I come out and replace this water pump and it doesn't fix it, you still owe me the money for coming out and replacing it, even if it doesn't fix it, because I didn't diagnose it. And a lot of times you'll say, oh no, I don't want that to happen. Will you diagnose it for me? Also, when it comes to accepting payments, when I started out, I made sure that I had Zelle, Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, credit, debit card machine that you could pay with credit and debit card, all that. For a time, I have narrowed that all the way down to cash, Cash App, or Zelle, because my bank already has Zelle linked to my account. Problem is, when I used to take credit and debit cards, a lot of people want to pay that way, but we would have disputes. People can dispute the charge. I don't know what the limit is. I've had disputes up to 9 months later. With Square, we used it to send our invoices and take credit and debit card payments, things like that. Well, if somebody paid with a credit or debit card, we sent an invoice and they paid it. 7, 8, 9 months later, we would have people dispute those transactions. And what would happen is, say the transaction was for $200 and you did it in January. Well, here it is July, middle of the summer, and they dispute something from winter for $200. What the Square would do is automatically take that $200 out of your account until the investigation is over. Investigation could take 5 or 6 weeks. Well, you might not be set up to lose $200 or $300 just because somebody's trying to file bankruptcy or somebody's trying to get money back off something from 10 months ago. So we've had people dispute them 7 or 8 times. Now, out of the 7 or 8 times, we won all the cases except one. What matters is they took the money. As soon as they disputed it, the money came out of my account right then. And it could take 5 or 6 weeks for this investigation to go through and find out if you win or not. And then they just give you your money back, the $200 that they took. It ain't like you get that $200 back plus some. No, they just give you your money back. So we quit dealing with that at all. All right, my last tip for the day. I mean, I could give you 100 tips, but this video can only be so long. So my last little tip of the day is trust your gut. You're talking to a customer, and just by the questions, just by their attitude, just whatever, it doesn't matter. If you don't feel comfortable about this situation, or you're thinking, oh God, I hope everything goes well, then just don't take it. Stay out of it. Trust me, there's not a lot of mobile mechanics out there. If you're doing your job, not ripping people off, you're gonna have plenty of business. All right, guys, that's just a few tips to help you avoid getting ripped off, because you know me, I've been getting ripped off a lot in the past few years, man. So you got to stay disciplined with this. I know it's going to be awkward in situations. You just got to do it, all right? I'm preaching to you and I'm preaching to myself right now. I got to do better. You got to do better with this. So stay disciplined. Remember, this is business. These are not your friends. Strictly business. You ain't got to be an asshole. Be friendly, be cordial, do your job. Make sure you get your money. Make sure you're protected. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, hell, I don't know what's going on, but you should. You should subscribe right now. Right now, push the button right there. And like always, Semper Fi, till next time.